Hey, how's it going? Andy here, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys 5 tricks and tips to get good deals while thrifting and game hunting. Starting this list off at number 5, go early. It's pretty important. It's not always important, but you always want to try to go as early as possible. This way you can find the games or the vinyls or whatever you're into collecting. Especially very important at yard sales. Now, I'm not super big into yard sailing, but every time I go, I always go early, and I have found some stuff. Will it always be like amazing stuff? No, but I always do find some stuff when I go yard sailing. And going early is pretty important when you're thrifting, because if something's sitting there, if you go at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's probably not going to be there. Like, some of my best scores have been at 9:30 in the morning, which I know some people hate getting up that early, but if you want to find the deals, you got to do it. One of my best deals at a Goodwill was I found a Sega Genesis, an N64, and a GameCube, all for $5, and it was at like 9:30ish in the morning. And I know if I would have went there later, I wouldn't have found them. So I've also found NES games that I know for a fact that if I wasn't there early in the morning, I would have never have found them. Coming in at number 4 is always ask. Now, this is very important, especially when you're yard sailing. If you don't see video games, just ask. Be like, hey, by any chance, do you have any video games? And just like name systems that you're into, like Super Nintendo and 64, or if you're into PS2 and Xbox or PS3 games, just ask. I mean, it never hurts to ask. And you can actually do this while you're thrifting as well. So normally Goodwills, unless it's like a local Goodwill, I don't know how to describe it. Like, not a Goodwill Superstore, which is what I normally go to. Some of the smaller ones, just ask. Be like, hey, by any chance, do you have any video games? Sometimes they have them in the back. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're like, they might be in with DVDs. You just gotta look. But yeah, it never hurts to ask. And then if they're like, well, we have some stuff, but we're not sure if you want to get rid of it, be like, hey, well, here's my number. If you decide to get rid of it, let me know. Sometimes you'll get a call back. Most of the time, you probably won't, though. Coming in at number 3 is trade in credit. Now, if you have a pile of games that you know for a fact you're never going to play, or if you have some extra systems that you've picked up along the way from yard sailing or thrifting, and you're like, well, I don't need 3 of these, bring them into your local game store. They will gladly give you, trade-in credit. So for example, I actually, this Superboy behind me, I actually used a good portion of trade-in credit because I had an NES and about 11 games and a couple extra controllers that I knew for a fact I was never going to use or never play. So I went in, traded it in, and I got about $70. Now, the games were anything amazing, but if you bring in stuff that you know are going to sell well, like your Marios, Pokemon, stuff like that, if you have extra games like that, or extra high-valued games just like that, then bring them in. You're probably going to get more store credit for it than if you brought in like a bunch of sports games. So trade-in credit is great, and it definitely comes in handy. Like, there was a person, last time I was at my local game store, that had like $600 in trade-in credit, which is insane. So most stores, you can stack your trade-in credit, then you can get more games. Coming in at number 2 is bundle. Now, this can be very important, especially if you're yard sailing and thrifting. Sometimes most thrift stores are pretty firm on the price. Same with game stores, but I'll get into that in just a second. But let's say you're at a yard sale and you're like, hey, how much is this one game? And they're like, oh, it's $3. And you see another game that you want, be like, hey, would you do 2 for $5? Most of the time, you can be like, yeah, I can do that. And I know you're only saving $1, but that dollar comes in handy. Maybe you can buy a burrito or a hamburger from McDonald's, or just try to work on the price. Don't be rude about it. If they're like, no, we can't do that, just be like, oh, okay, no problem, and just get the game that you normally want. And that really ties into like most game stores that I've been to don't really have the room, or they're not allowed to, give discounts like that. But that's also where trade-in credit comes in handy. So there are some game stores that I've been to that have bundled with me, or that have like worked on me with the price. For example, I bought, it was like 10 complete in-box just import games, and they were asking, I want to say like 10 bucks a piece. And I was like, hey, how much are you asking? And they're like, they're about 10 bucks a piece. I'm like, okay. And I found all the ones that I wanted. I'm like, would you do 80 bucks for all of them? And they looked and like, yeah, we can do that. Because they know import games aren't going to sell as well as just regular NES games or Super Nintendo games. And it comes, like I said, bundling definitely comes in handy. And I saved myself 20 bucks right there. So it definitely adds up. Coming in at number 1 is be consistent. Now this helps in a couple areas. For example, if you're always going to these thrift stores, talk to the employees. Be like, hey, I'm really into video games or records. If you have anything, just let me know. Hand them your number. I've gotten a call back and I was able to get some N64 games, and I got like 2 64 controllers, which was awesome. Also, every time I go to the local Goodwill by my parents' house, there's this one lady that knows I'm into video games, and she'll normally set some aside for me. Now, I don't go there as often, but she used to set some video games aside, be like, hey, here's some of the video games that we have. I don't know if you're interested in them. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, or sometimes I'll be like, well, I already have most of these. And she's like, all right, not a problem. But she knows that's what I'm into, so you just gotta be friendly. And also being consistent definitely helps with finding stuff. So if you're only going like once a month, odds are you're probably not gonna find much. But if you go like once a week, you have a better chance of finding stuff. There's a time where I was going every single day to Goodwill, and I was finding lots of stuff. Like sometimes I would even go twice a day. That's a little much, but there are times where you can find stuff later in the afternoon or at night that they're just putting out for like the morning. It really all depends, but you gotta be consistent because that's how you find the deals. So those are my 5 tricks and tips on how to get good deals while game hunting and thrifting. If you have any other tips, leave them down in the comments down below. Also, linked down below, I have my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Patreon. You to be as awesome as Dana Smith. She helps support my channel. You can too. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay rad, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.